Welcome to episode 494 of AI Brief. The Pentagon is making a definitive move to lock big tech into classified networks, and we are also looking at the physical world, specifically exploring how severe labor shortages are forcing Japan to deploy humanoid robots at major airports.
That one is fascinating.
It really is. And finally, we will walk through the top AI tools you can use right now to supercharge your personal productivity.
And looking at all these updates, there's a very clear overarching theme here. Artificial intelligence is aggressively moving out of the experimental phase.
Oh, that's
We are seeing it firmly embed itself into the absolute highest levels of national security, while, simultaneously stepping in to sustain the physical labor market. This technology isn't just a novelty anymore. It is becoming foundational infrastructure at just a remarkable speed.
Well, let us unpack the situation unfolding in Washington. Because the government has completely shifted gears from simply flirting with military AI to fully industrializing it.
It is a total pivot.
It is. The Pentagon just signed 7 major vendors to deploy their AI capabilities on classified Defense Department networks. We are looking at an elite roster here. SpaceX, OpenAI, Google, NVIDIA, Reflection, Microsoft, and AWS.
That is quite the lineup.
And the goal is to dramatically widen the military supplier base and push these advanced tools into incredibly high security environments, specifically what the Defense Department designates as impact levels 6 and 7.
And for context, those aren't just experimental sandboxes. Impact Level 6 is where they handle actual, classified, secret national security data.
And level 7 goes even deeper. This is the real deal. But to truly understand this, we need to move past the idea of this being just a standard procurement update. Think of this development as a massive, impenetrable technological moat.
Like an exclusive VIP club.
Precisely. It's vendor lock-in at the highest conceivable level. For a technology company, gaining access to classified government demand is becoming just as valuable as the underlying quality of their AI models themselves.
Because once you are wired into those deeply classified networks,
Your proprietary architecture becomes the baseline for national security operations. And the scale of this integration is just staggering. The Pentagon stated that its GenAI.mil platform has already been utilized by more than 1.3 million Defense Department personnel in a span of just 5 months.
that scale and velocity offer critical supporting context, especially when you look at the mechanics of who is missing from this power map.
Oh, the omissions are glaring.
The conspicuous loser in this new arrangement is Anthropic. They were noticeably left out of this coalition. And this exclusion stems directly from a prior friction point with the Pentagon over guardrails regarding the military use of Anthropic's models.
Wait, really, I have to pause on that detail. Anthropic is widely recognized for having some of the safest, most rigorously tested models in the entire industry.
They are.
So how does having strict safety guardrails translate into being labeled a supply chain risk by the military?
It comes down to the underlying logic of how the military operates. The Department of Defense doesn't just want models that are broadly safe for the public. They want total compliance with their specific operational rules and objectives.
I see.
If an AI company's internal guardrails prevent the military from using the model for certain strategic defense-related tasks, well, that model becomes unreliable in a high-stakes scenario.
It refuses a command when they need it most.
Exactly. They view that unpredictability, that refusal to process certain commands as a vulnerability in their operational supply chain. What this shows is that the government is picking its AI inner circle very, very carefully.
Rewarding the ones who play by their rules.
They are deliberately rewarding the companies that are willing to operate entirely inside the military's strict security terms without imposing external corporate guardrails. Furthermore, this is a highly actionable coalition, not just a symbolic piece of paper.
We are seeing the hardware catch up.
We are. Google's separate infrastructure agreement shows that the physical and digital frameworks required for these high-security networks are already moving into place. They're building the air-gapped systems and localized servers right now.
So while artificial intelligence is rapidly securing digital borders in Washington, the physical world is facing its own massive bottlenecks. We are seeing theoretical applications finally translating into heavy machinery to solve real-world crises globally. So let's look at how heavy machinery and automation are catching up.
The physical deployment is accelerating so rapidly. And we can see the exact mechanics of this by looking at the aviation sector. Japan Airlines is currently putting humanoid robots to work at Haneda Airport.
At the airport, doing what?
Well, they're launching a 2-year trial this month to test these humanoid robots for physically demanding tasks, like baggage handling, as well as complex tasks like cabin cleaning.
Oh, wow.
And this is driven by a very specific, impending macroeconomic crisis. Tourism in Japan is hitting record highs, bringing massive logistical strain. But simultaneously, the country's workforce is shrinking incredibly fast.
I have to jump in here because whenever I hear humanoid robots, it feels a bit like science fiction overkill. Why do these robots need to look and move like humans?
It seems like a lot of effort, doesn't it?
It does. Wouldn't a specialized wheeled robotic vacuum or mechanical conveyor belt be much more efficient for an airline?
In an open warehouse, absolutely. But think about the specific environment of an airplane cabin. It is an environment built exclusively for the human form factor.
Oh, the owls are tiny.
Incredibly narrow aisles, raised steps, tray tables that need to be folded, overhead bins that need to be latched. Plus, varied surfaces transitioning from carpet to plastic. Navigating those tight, irregular spaces requires a level of spatial awareness and balance that traditional wheeled robots simply don't possess.
So you need the human shape.
If you want to automate cabin cleaning without completely redesigning the interior of every commercial jet, you need a machine shaped like the humans who currently do the job. And this connects to a much larger demographic reality. Japan's working-age population is on track to decline by nearly a third by the year 2060.
That is a steep drop.
Because of this decline, market analysts fully expect the Japanese government to aggressively push humanoid robotics as a strictly necessary alternative to human labor across multiple industries.
Not just aviation.
Definitely not. And moving from the labor demands of aviation to the technology sector itself, we are seeing a massive bottleneck in AI infrastructure. The demand for server space is exploding.
It is out of control.
To keep up, SoftBank is launching a robotics company specifically to automate data center construction. This new venture, called Rose AI, will deploy autonomous robots to build server farms more efficiently.
Building a data center sounds incredibly complex, but SoftBank is already plotting an initial public offering for Rose AI with a target valuation of $100 billion.
It is a massive number.
It is an astronomical figure for a construction robotics company. Is the market really going to absorb a valuation that high just for building server farms?
It is undeniably a bold financial bet. Even some insiders at SoftBank are reportedly skeptical about that $100 billion figure. But you have to look at the underlying mechanics of what is actually holding the AI industry back right now.
The physical hardware.
It isn't a lack of ideas, it's a lack of compute power. And building a data center requires moving incredibly heavy, fragile server racks, installing highly complex liquid cooling systems, and routing massive amounts of power.
Dangerous amounts of power.
Exactly. Well, it requires an intersection of heavy lifting and microscopic precision. If Rose AI can automate that process and cut construction times in half, they essentially hold the keys to the entire AI boom. And Jeff Bezos is pursuing a very similar strategy through his industrial AI startup, Project Prometheus.
So everyone is racing to automate the build-out.
Because you can't build bigger digital brains without building the physical bodies to house them. And this brings us to the geopolitical implications of this entire robotics boom.
There is always a geopolitical angle.
There is a new U.S. bipartisan bill aiming to ban the United States government from using Chinese ground robots. This legislation is part of a much broader push in Washington to sever sensitive technological ties with Beijing.
But there's a catch.
A massive structural roadblock. United States robotics firms still rely heavily on Chinese-made components. We're talking about the underlying foundational hardware, the specialized motors, the LiDAR sensors, the high-density battery cells.
The irony there is profound. I mean, it perfectly illustrates the friction between political ambition and physical reality.
It is a tough position.
The United States is desperately trying to race ahead and establish dominance in the physical AI hardware space, yet they are completely tangled in the very supply chains they are actively trying to cut off.
You can't just flip a legislative switch.
You really can't. You can't start building advanced humanoid robots domestically when the foundational components required to make their arms move and their batteries hold a charge rely on a deeply globalized network. Enforcing a ban that moves further down the supply chain could unintentionally cripple the very domestic companies it is meant to protect.
Hardware requires a physical origin point.
So let us transition from these billion-dollar and face-sure problems and geopolitical supply chains down to practical applications you can utilize today. The ecosystem of personal AI is expanding rapidly, offering tools that can significantly boost your daily productivity.
These are the tools you can use right now.
Let's look at the underlying mechanisms of today's trending AI tools and exactly how you can apply them to your workflow. Um, First up is a tool called Skoe. This platform is designed to turn your everyday work into personalized AI learning.
How does it manage that?
Well, imagine you just finished a dense 2-hour technical meeting, or you wrapped up an exhaustive research sprint on a complex new project. Usually, you are left with chaotic, scattered notes that you have to manually decipher later.
Oh, we all know that feeling.
Google changes that mechanism entirely. It takes your daily meeting transcripts or research inputs and automatically generates structured, highly personalized study guides. It analyzes the specific jargon and context of your workplace, allowing you to actively master the material without spending hours organizing the data yourself.
That is huge for onboarding or just staying on top of fast-moving projects.
It is. Next up is the Cloud Computer by Manus. This functions as a dedicated cloud machine specifically built for your bots and automated software. Think about the friction of trying to run heavy background automations, like complex data scraping tasks or mass file conversions on your personal laptop.
Your cooling fan spins up immediately.
Your battery drains in an hour and your entire system freezes, preventing you from doing any actual work. Manus solves this by allowing you to offload all of that heavy processing to a dedicated instance in the cloud. It's like having a second invisible computer doing all the heavy lifting remotely.
Keeping your local hardware completely free and responsive.
Third on the list is Feather. This is a photo editor equipped with local artificial intelligence. Privacy is a massive concern when using AI to edit images, especially when you are dealing with sensitive personal photos or confidential document scans.
Because usually you have to upload them.
If you use a cloud-based AI editor, you are forced to upload your sensitive visual data to a third-party server, hoping their security holds up. Feather fundamentally changes this by running the advanced AI processing entirely on your local machine.
Oh, so it uses your own hardware.
It uses the processing power of your own hardware to run the AI weights locally. This guarantees that your data never leaves your device, allowing you to use professional-grade AI editing tools with total privacy.
That is incredibly valuable for sensitive workflows.
Fourth is Microsoft Copilot Health. This tool creates a dedicated, secure space to bring all of your personal health data together. The current medical data landscape is incredibly fragmented.
It is a mess.
You likely experienced this firsthand. You might have recent blood work results locked in one hospital's patient portal, daily activity metrics isolated on your fitness tracker, and historical doctor notes sitting in physical folders or an entirely different clinic's database.
Trying to put that together is a nightmare.
Microsoft Copilot Health acts as a secure, unified interface to finally synthesize all of that scattered information. By translating the different data formats used by various health providers, it makes sense of your personal health metrics in one centralized, easily readable dashboard.
That is long overdue.
And finally, we have Select. This tool is built to organize your files using artificial intelligence. Think about the chaotic state of a typical downloads folder. It is usually a graveyard filled with hundreds of vaguely named PDFs, duplicate images, and random documents.
We were all guilty of that.
Instead of you having to open each file to see what it is and manually drag it to a specific folder, Select acts as an intelligent digital assistant. It doesn't just look at the file names, the AI actually analyzes the underlying contents of those files. It understands context, allowing it to instantly and automatically sort that chaotic folder into neatly categorized, highly organized project directories without a single manual click required.
Looking at that list, the true productivity unlock happens when you stop viewing these as isolated tools and start combining them to create automated, multi-step workflows.
Oh, compounding the benefits.
For example, imagine combining the last tool with the first one we discussed. You could use Select to instantly organize a massive, chaotic dump of raw data and scattered research documents into a perfectly clean, contextual folder structure.
And then,
Once that data is neatly categorized, you could feed those highly organized files directly into Scully. That combination allows you to instantly generate a comprehensive structured learning module from raw chaos. It gives you the ability to completely master a brand new topic for work in a fraction of the time it would normally take just to read through the raw materials manually.
as we wrap up today's analysis, there is a final provocative thought drawn directly from everything we've explored today. We are watching AI push deeper into highly classified, air-gapped military networks. We are seeing humanoid robots begin to take over physical aviation labor and autonomous machines preparing to build the very data centers that power our digital world.
The physical and digital worlds are merging.
As this acceleration continues, the future of global technological dominance might no longer be about who writes the smartest software code. It seems increasingly clear that the ultimate power lies with whoever controls the physical hardware, the manufacturing supply chains, and the secure access points that bring that code into the real world.
Thank you for tuning in and exploring these complex developments with us.
Make sure to follow the podcast so you never miss an update, and please share this with someone in your network who needs to stay ahead of the AI curve. See you in the next episode.